Hey guys, so I'm actually on my way home right now. So I was just thinking about how Chicago had an earthquake the other day. I think they originally put it on the Richter scale at 4.3 as of the magnitude, but I think they've since downgraded it to a 3.8. But I can't believe we had an earthquake. I actually didn't even know until we got to work in the morning the following day, and people were talking about it, and I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, we had an earthquake, and I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't feel anything. So that was kind of creepy and scary at the same time. I remember a couple of years ago we had an earthquake when I was in college, and I lived by myself at the time, and I remember waking up in the middle of the night and my bed was shaking, and I couldn't place my mind on why my bed would be shaking, and it freaked the hell out of me, and I thought like someone was at the base of my bed like shaking it. And when I got to work in the morning, I realized we had an earthquake, and I was like so relieved because I thought someone was in my apartment, and like there was things that fell over in the other room, and I was totally freaked out. But I was really surprised when we had one this time and I didn't even wake up. I must have been totally zonked out. But I think that's totally random and kind of cool that we had an earthquake. I'm so pumped that tomorrow is Friday. I can't believe how slow this week is going. And it's just like dragging on and dragging on. I wish that the week didn't go by so slow. But it's also kind of weird because at the same time I feel like time goes by so much faster nowadays. I remember when I was a kid and like summer vacation seemed like forever. And nowadays, like when I was in high school or college, summer vacation flew right by and I just couldn't put my finger on where the time went. And now it goes by even faster. Like I don't really get summer vacation anymore. You know, I get 15 days of vacation in my job now. So that's pretty much all the vacation time I get. And then I get like our paid holidays for, you know, like Christmas and stuff. So it's not as if I get a ton of time off throughout the year now. So it's totally interesting how things change as you get older. If I have a recommendation, it's to definitely stay in school as long as you possibly can. That's one of the things that I really appreciated was I was able to get into a really good graduate program that basically paid for all of my school, and I got a salary and everything for teaching classes. So I didn't end up owing anything for grad school. I actually got paid to go to school. So if you are in college, I recommend applying to a grad program where you can further your education. You'll be able to get paid better. You'll also get a lot more experience, so you'll be able to get a better job when you get out of school. But it also kind of prolongs your ability to sort of think about what you want to do with your life and, you know, do a little bit more growing before you end up having to get into the workforce. Because once you're in the workforce, that's where you're pretty much going to be for the rest of your life. It's really hard once you get out of the school mode or get out of school to go back, especially if you're working a full-time job, because people stop paying for your school. You know, your parents eventually cut you off. And so then you have to pay your bills and work and go to school, and that's just totally insane. But, you know, I think one of the greatest things that my mom definitely instilled in my brothers and I from when we were little kids was that we had to go to college. It was always expected of us that we were going to go to college, so it was never a question in my mind that we wouldn't go. And I really enjoyed my college experience. I went to a pretty good university, and I managed to get really good grades, and I got into a really good entomology program for grad school, which is exactly what I wanted to do in grad school. And so I got to learn a lot more about the things I was specifically interested in. The other thing to think about, too, I don't know if a lot of you guys are in college or college bound in some point in the future, but when you go to grad school, you know, it's a lot different than when you're just in your undergrad. A lot of your undergrad classes are gen ed classes, or you have to take a lot of chemistry, especially if you're in biology. When you're in grad school, you don't have to take as many classes as when you're just in regular college. So you usually only take between 1 to 2 classes a semester, so it's much easier to focus on what you're learning, and you're not as overwhelmed with the classes. You do have other responsibilities, like for instance, my graduate experience entailed teaching 2 lab classes every week, and then you also have, you know, your own research that you're trying to sort of take care of on top of that. It's definitely a lot of work, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's kind of like you're working a full-time job, or maybe more hours depending on the type of research you do. But grad school is different because all grad students, they're there because they want to be there. So the learning environment is totally different than, for instance, when you're in college and a lot of kids are sitting in class thinking, I hate this class, I don't want to be here, I don't want to do this homework, I don't want to be in this lab class, and so forth. So it's a totally different experience. So all I have to say is that my graduate experience was fantastic. If you guys have the opportunity to go to college or to go to a trade school or cosmetology school or to go to graduate school and get your PhD or medical school, you should definitely take the opportunity and pursue your dreams, pursue your education, because once you've earned your education, it's something that no one can ever take away from you. Even if you ultimately decide not to pursue your education by getting a job in that field, or maybe becoming a professor at a university if you get your PhD, or practicing medicine, whatever it is, no one can ever take away the fact that you did the work and that you did the accomplishment. Something that I always come back to, and I was just thinking about this the other day, was when I was in high school, I actually had really good grades. And, but for some reason, my advisor, in high school you have advisors, he didn't think that I was going to be able to make it in medical school or graduate school in biology. And he told me he didn't think that I had good enough grades to get into a program for either one of those things. And I was just kind of like, you know what? Screw that. Like, if I listened to somebody every time they said you couldn't do something, most people would probably never do anything with their lives. So I ended up getting into a good biology program in college, and I graduated with high honors. Not just honors, I graduated with high honors. And I got into the #1 entomology graduate program in the country. So if I had listened to my advisor because he didn't think I could do it, I would not have been I wouldn't have done any of what I've been able to accomplish. And so that's something I definitely think you should think about, is don't let people squash your dreams. If you really want to do something, just do it. Follow through, do what you need to do in order to accomplish your goals, and it will happen for you. Another piece of advice that I think is really helpful for when you're in college is to start learning how to network. And I think the first way to do that is by introducing yourself to your professors. And this is something my mom told me. And I fought her on this for a long time because I said it was silly and I was embarrassed and I didn't want to do it. But when you're in college, you're going to be in classes that are either really small, like between 10 and 20 people, or you're going to be in class sizes that are upwards of 100 to 500 kids. And you want to distinguish yourself from the rest of the people in the class. Just for the sheer fact that you're going to get more out of the class, you're going to be able to go and ask your teacher for help. That's definitely a key to doing better in your classes. But also, if something happens, if your teacher can put your face with your name, they're more likely to give you the benefit of the doubt if you have a problem, or give you extra help, give you an extension on a paper or project or something if something comes up, if they know who you are. The other thing that will be really helpful in terms of things like that was when I was an undergraduate, I was in biology, and I knew I wanted to go to grad school, and so I knew one of the things I needed to start getting active in was getting some undergraduate research experience. And so I started talking to different professors in my classes, finding out if they took undergraduates in their lab, to train them. And so I started getting experience as an undergraduate. I had like 2 or 3 years extra experience before I even got into graduate school when I was an undergrad, so that I could learn about my model organism, learn about what I wanted to study in my master's degree. And so that really helped further, me in terms of my education and so forth. But my reasoning for mentioning networking is it's really important to start networking if you want to get ahead in life. Networking really helps you achieve your goals. It also helps you to achieve getting better job offers, making things like getting a job easier for you. One of the reasons I got a job so easily after getting out of graduate school was because my advisor wrote a letter to her university that she did her PhD in, and she sent the letter to everyone she knew there, and I actually got 3 job interviews from that one letter that my advisor sent. So it's really helpful to start just practicing that when you're in college, start talking to your professors, start getting feelers out there, because the more people that know who you are, that can place your face with your name, the better you are going to be in terms of your college education, also in terms of getting a job and everything else in life. So that's kind of my random tips on college. If you guys want some more helpful hints on that, I can put something together a little bit more formally, but this was just kind of me rambling on about different things. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We're so close to the weekend. I'm so excited for it, and I will talk to you guys soon. Later.